Okay, I'm continuing to work on this Fisher 474. Parts came in today, so we got the parts we need. The label's kind of messed up because I clean them with alcohol because of the current situation with viruses. Anyway, I ordered some really good capacitors. These are Illinois, so they're really nice capacitors. This one here, as you can see, is a 63 volt 2200 microfarad capacitor. This little guy replaces that big guy. Same exact capacitor rating anyway. But you see how much things have changed in just 40, 50 years since this. I don't even know how old this one is. It's probably at least 40 years, maybe 50 years. This one, which is almost the same size as that, and it's actually bigger than that. Look at that. It's actually bigger than the one that's going to replace this. This is what I took out, and it's a 35 volt 1000 microfarad capacitor. Okay, that's going to be replaced with these. Well, there's 4 of them. I ordered more than I needed, so I'd have some inventory, but that's 1035 volts, and look at the difference in sides. So that'll take some of the weight off, and then okay, that's going to be replaced with that. These guys here, which are these 100 volt gray ones here, we took this one, took these two out, and they're out of tolerance, of course, so they have to be replaced because they'll cause damage. This is a 50 volt 100 microfarad, and that gets replaced with, let's see, these. Yeah, it gets replaced with these. Look at that. That's how much technology has changed since the stereo was made, or quadraphonic rather. As you can see, probably see, you can get it under the light there. 100 microfarad at 50 volts. I don't think my camera's going to focus on that. Anyway, that's them. That's that. That's the difference. Unbelievable. So, anywho, I'm going to go ahead and replace these and solder those in. Oh, I also got these guys here, which I think that these, or maybe I ordered 2 of these 100s. Yeah, 220 at 25 volts. They're about the same size, and the reason being, if they were any smaller, you wouldn't be able to even solder them in. So they give them a bigger case than they actually need. They don't need half that size case, and so they're the same as those. So anyway, I'm gonna start with those. Once I get this board done back here, then we will continue the video and take a look at what we got and how it sounds and what the voltages are. Because the voltages were a little bit out of spec. They weren't bad. They actually were pretty close. But of course, with all that leaky stuff, there was a possibility of really burning things up. These things that were leaking bad, and it's definitely dried out a lot. And this one, forget about it. It's a mess. So that's where I am. Once we get these in, then we will continue the video. Okay, I wanted to show the difference in these two capacitors. This is the one that was in there. This is the one we're putting in there. And this is the reading on this one. It's supposed to be 2200, and there it is, almost 2800. So well out of spec. This is the one we're putting in there, brand new. Supposed to be 2200, same voltage, 63 volts max. Supposed to be 2200. Look at that. That's the difference between a new capacitor and one that's old. Now, again, that's not just a problem with the value. Yeah, the capacitor's out of specs. That's just why I was cleaning it off, trying to see if I had a negative thing, and then I realized I painted the dot. But it's not just the difference in the specs of the microfarads that's bad. It's also, it's not swollen, which is interesting. It's also the fact that they leak DC when you're not supposed to leak no DC in a capacitor. It's not a fuse. It's not a resistor. It's a open circuit for DC. Closed for AC. AC jumps the gap, but DC can't jump the gap. Not supposed to. But these, as they get old, they turn into resistors. And so then DC can go right through it and come out the other side, and that's a big no-no. That's sometimes a whole lot worse than them being out of spec as far as the number of microfarads. So that's why I change them. The question is, what do I do with this one? I could just glue it there. And this is the ring that held the old one. I could put some kind of a mount around there and to hold it and then screw it back down, which is probably what I'm going to do. But just wanted to show, look at the difference in size. It's just amazing. It's amazing. Anyway, this one here, give you an idea, it's about an inch. It's not even an inch and a half. Might be an inch and a half long by about a half inch in diameter, maybe three quarters of an inch in diameter. This joker is a full 1 1/4 inch in diameter, and it's about 2 inches high. Unreal. Okay, I got the capacitors in this fisher, and put this one here and strapped it down. No sense in trying to get it in that big old space. It was perfect there for it, plenty of room around it. Got all the new capacitors in that I've replaced. I've replaced 12 capacitors, I believe, give or take 1 or 2. And now what I'm working on is the dial indicator. I'm not sure why it's not lighting on this side. I'm going to check that out. It may be just that that's the way it is. I don't know until I open up the dial box. But I figured I'd show you what it does. If I turn it on, put my power back on. Okay, turn it on and put it on FM. This is the rear there. I don't want to bring these up too much because they're not on speakers that'll take it. This one is on these big boys here, and they can handle 250 watts, so they're fine. I got the knob off there a little bit because I've been moving it back and forth, but okay, so it goes like that. And if I bring those up, and it has separate left and right, so I can bring one up or the other. So that's all working fine. Same with the front here. If I take this knob out and put this in here, because I got to try to find a knob. But if I turn up the left, that's that speaker back there. Turn up the right, and there's a speaker behind that white box up there. That's the other speaker. And they're very low wattage, so I can't turn them up. but that's working. You got mono. Well, turn up the front speakers so you can hear. Oh, I can't do that because of copyright. But you got mono here, 2-channel, which is stereo, obviously. Mono, stereo, spatial quality, which is sort of a, it's a gives the aspect of depth to 4-speaker stereo. Makes it sound like it's quadraphonic, which is good for AM/FM radio, because of course AM/FM radio is stereo. So, but this adds that dimension to make it sound like it's a quad. And then there's 4-channel. Of course, 4-channel will only play the 2 front speakers unless you've got this set on auxiliary input and use all 4 inputs, like for a CD player or an 8-track quad 8-track player would plug in, but it has to be quad input for all 4 speakers to work. Stereo input on 4-channel is only going to give you stereo on 2-channel because it's just stereo. You got to have all 4 coming in. It has rear and front headphones. So actually the way the switch works, I'll shut it off. There's 4 settings. The numbers are worn out, and I'll just print them on a piece of paper so that the owner can decide if he wants to handwrite them in there. I don't want to do that. And they are AC off, which is the first one, and you can see part of it. The next dot here, next click, is 4-channel for the speakers. It turns all the speakers on. The next one is headphones, which turns on these 2 jacks. And the last one is 2 speakers, which turns on just the 2 forward speakers. So everything in the front is working. The jacks in the back are working. Of course, the phono jack is broken. There's nothing I can do about that. If you hook up a phonograph to this, you just got to be really careful. But the owner will have to be careful because there's no replacing that assembly. It's, I don't know if I can show it to you, but there it is. And it's broken here, and these are loose. So I would gently plug in 2 phono wires, 2 RCA jacks that could connect to a phonograph, and not be plugging them in and unplugging them much, because it's fine right now, and I would hold them while you push them in, so to get them started. If they're really tight, I'd be very careful, because you could push these jacks right through this, and there's nothing I can do about that. I can't replace it. So anyway, but that's the only issue with the jacks. Everything else is fine. All the fuses work. In fact, I had 1 channel wasn't working right, and the voltages were dead. Traced it around, and then I was like, wait a minute, there's fuses in the back. And sure enough, with the old capacitors, it was blowing out one of the channel fuses. So I replaced it, and it came right back, and the voltages were perfect. So the next thing is to see if I can look inside here and figure out what's going on with the, and I don't even know if this comes apart. I gotta be very careful. I don't want to take something off that's gonna make things worse than it already is. This meter here is attached to it. But I'm gonna see if I can get that off and see if there's a light bulb burnt out on the right side. You see the dial is very dark here. I can see the numbers. I don't know if they're showing up in the camera. Maybe if I get a little closer, you can see the numbers do light up. And it's very bright on this side, so it could be that there's just lights here and they shine through, but that just seems awfully dark to me. So I want to check it out if I can get it apart easily. If it's all one component that you replace, well, obviously there's nothing I can do about it. I can't get another one. It's too old. They don't make them. So anyway, I appreciate you watching the video. If you found this helpful, please give a thumbs up and or subscribe. I appreciate any support you're willing to provide me. Helps me keep my channel going. And thank you for your time.